Good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar who all have joined us this afternoon. My name is Rajgopal. I'm speaking to you from Bangalore. I'm from the admissions office here at Azim Premji University. I coordinate both the postgraduate and undergraduate program admissions here. So before I go further, I just hope everybody's safe wherever you are at this point of time. Unprecedented times. So what I'm going to do is, I'll before I invite my colleagues to interact with you, some quick pointers so that we have a smooth experience over the next 60 or 70 minutes or so, right? So the first question is, why this webinar at all, right? If things were all okay, we would have had what we call the program information session. We would have met face to face here at Bangalore, and we love that every April, and we look forward to that. And one we do in November, and then we do in summer typically on a Saturday or a Sunday in April. We are not able to do that. We were bombarded with a lot of emails and phone calls saying, what do we do? We have a lot of questions. Can you please organize an interaction? So that's a quick background of this webinar. This is exclusively for people who have applied for our regular admissions window. Second point is some quick things to notice how to use this particular platform, what is called MS Teams. Not that we are expert. I'm an expert in MS Teams, and we're also learning as we move on. But the chat window, the Q&A window is disabled now, so you will not be able to ask any questions unless we finish our talking here. So once we finish that, we will open up that chat window so that you can ask questions, and then we will answer it one by one. So I'm joined behind the scenes. I'm joined by some wonderful colleagues here. So they're all experts in their field. They'll be answering. They'll be coming one by one, right, to interact with you. So that's what I wanted to tell. I just quickly run through the slides so that everybody, this could be repetition for people who already know about Azim Premji University, but I thought it'll be worthwhile for us to, quickly refresh ourselves. So we're based at Bangalore. We were established in 2011. That's where the first set of PG programs started. We are a university completely funded by Azim Premji Foundation. I'll explain more what I mean by fully philanthropic and not-for-profit entity. I'll explain that in more detail. But our vision is we are here with the university was set up with a very clear social purpose, right? Not only I'm not talking about just the degree programs, the continuing education program, the research that we do, the publication that comes out of Azim Premji University is with the vision that we want to see a much better society than where we are now, right? That's the quick background about Azim Premji University. What are the programs that we are talking today? Today the focus is only on the undergraduate program. So we have a 3-year program on offer. If you're interested in the sciences, you choose from, for a BSc degree, you'll choose from physics, maths, or biology, or if it is BA, you would choose from an economics or humanities. We'll talk definitely more in detail about humanities here, which is a concentration of language and literature, history, and philosophy, not in any particular order. All 3 are important. So the 3-year program we started in 2015. The 4-year program we started in 2018, which is, as you can see there, it's the dual degree program. You graduate with science and education. So in sciences, you can choose between physical sciences, life sciences, or maths, and plus the education component. It's an integrated science and education program. The next component that's going to come up, I keep telling students and parents or aspirants that please do look at our common curriculum, right? That should excite you along with your disciplinary interest. This should also really excite you. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. We will talk as we move forward. This is what you see on the slide. The interdisciplinary study is only for the 3-year program. But it's a fully residential program. Even if you're living on Sarjapur Road, that's where the campus is. You have to be in the campus. So that's one aspect. Quickly, most of you have already applied. After the applications, we will have an entrance test. So we finished one round of admissions in December. The second round is going to come up in May and June. And then once that's over, an entrance test is over, we'll be inviting you for an interaction. It's written interviews, but everybody here, not just me, including my other colleagues, we love to call it an interaction, which we do as a final step. When is the entrance test going to be? I wish I knew the date, and I'm able to announce it here during the webinar. We thought we'll be able to do it in mid-April, but we kind of moved it. We're quite clear we will not do. We will do it only after mid-May or later May, whenever things are under control because of the pandemic, right? So I think I'm going to stop here, and I'll invite my. I'm not going to go further. I'm going to invite my colleague Varuni. We have the freedom of calling all my colleagues with my first name. So Varuni is going to come live next, and then speak to you about the humanities program. Or between us, we just decide. I'm just thinking, whether we should do physics. I'm getting a lot of messages here that we should do physics first and then humanities later. So apologies for that. Thanks for the alert for the participants who are here. So we will let us do physics, and then we'll come to the humanities. So whenever we are ready, I would request my colleague Prateep to go live and then talk about. Thanks, Prateep. Over to you next.
Yeah, ready. Yeah, yes, hi, this is Prateep Malik. I teach physics at Azim Premji University. And I'll just briefly describe the physics program. So we have two science programs, which is physics and biology, and we also have a program in maths. So what I say now is kind of applicable in some part to biology as well, though not necessarily with maths. So in physics, we have a curriculum that is what we think is very holistic, involves a lot of hands-on work, and obviously classes, theory courses. And we believe that experimental work, theoretical work, analytical work, all of these need to kind of happen together when in a physics program. Rajgopal has already mentioned a little bit about the common curriculum. So I just want to tell all physics students who are interested in physics that, maybe only about 30 to 40% of your coursework will be in physics, right? And you will have maybe another 10, 15% of your courses, which will be supporting courses like maths and other things that kind of support the learning of physics. And then, about 36 out of your 84 credits in the 3-year program will actually be in the common curriculum. So I want to say that at first, so that you know that students who are doing physics are not exclusively only doing physics courses. That said, our physics program gives a solid foundational understanding, or should give a solid foundational understanding of physics. We have most of our foundational physics courses are lab-based. We actually teach courses in what's called the studio format, where we do demos, lecture, and lab, all kind of within the same class. So students actually hear about a concept, they may get to see a little demo, then there may be a little bit of a lecture, and then you do a lab where you actually really get to do something hands-on that helps you understand the concept even better. Our assessments in the physics program are generally comprehensive. We have assessments every week. You will do stuff like lab reports, project work, standard exams, quizzes, all kinds of things, right? Presentations, reading of papers, and so on. And starting the 4th, 5th semester, you will actually start taking some electives. These are physics courses where, depending upon your interest, whether you want to do experimental work, whether you want to understand particle physics and quantum physics better, or if you want to do things like soft matter physics, or astronomy, then you have a whole variety of choices for the electives. Now, I think all of you will have the question as to what does the physics program prepare you for? It prepares you for basically a career in anything, right? Physics is a way of looking at our world, and the broad-based education that you get at Azim Premji University will allow you to essentially, have any kind of career that you choose. And physics is one particular way of looking at the world, and it'll give you a solid, kind of analytical understanding of many different things: reading skills, writing skills, computational skills, programming skills, and so on. So I will stop here and take specific questions after everybody is done with their introductions. So nice to meet all of you. Yeah, and I think over to Varuni, probably.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Varuni Bhatia, and I teach history at Azim Premji University. I am one of the many humanities faculty that we have at Azim Premji University, and I will be giving you a short overview of the humanities program, the way it works at our university. We have a rather unique humanities program, which means that, I'm sorry, I'm hearing a lag. Is anybody else hearing? Okay, we have a very unique humanities program, which means that our humanities is focused on 3 distinct disciplines, and it is focused on these disciplines in an extraordinarily integrative fashion. We try to build expertise in the disciplines, but at the same time, our program also works upon building humanistic sensibilities amongst our students. The 3 disciplines that we have in the humanities and are language and literature, philosophy, and history. And in these disciplines, basically what you expect out of a typical humanities classroom over a period of 3 years in the different kinds of courses that the students take is to develop humanistic sensibilities, to develop capacities that we associate most closely with the humanistic education, and to develop domain knowledge in the specificities, the kind of specific questions, methodologies, and theoretical approaches that each one of these disciplines brings in their own way to broadly understanding the world and the kind of questions that we have before us. So just to let you know, by broad humanistic sensibilities, what we mean are aesthetic sensibilities, which we hone through our language and literature program, historical sensibilities that we hone through the history program, and to develop certain kinds of responsive sensibilities to the immediate questions around equality, justice, so on and so forth that we face in society today, that our philosophy program is very keenly attuned to. We work on building capabilities and disciplinary knowledge. We do that, and that opens up multiple possibilities for the students, possibilities around reading, analyzing complex texts, whatever it could be meant by text, written text, oral text, visual text, and so on. We deal with writing and communication. Our students are taught how to write, both for a specialist public, but also for a general public. So there are a number of courses that they can take, for instance, in writing for the public. A number of our assignments are organized to allow students to hone their skill to write for a broader public. And finally, of course, there is domain knowledge, domain knowledge, which is methodological, theoretical knowledge, but also deep knowledge about what each discipline is about, which allows our students then, if they want to continue with specializing in any of these disciplines, they can go ahead and do that. The way our courses are planned, we have out of the total 12 courses that our students are supposed to do, our students take 4 courses, 4 core courses, each in language and literature, philosophy and history, which adds up to 12 credits. They take another 3 courses in any one of the 3 that they are particularly interested in, and this adds up 9 further credits to their credit bag. And finally, it is optional if the student, if any individual student wants to do an honors project, they can go ahead and work on an honors project as well. The honors project, which, as I said, is completely optional, hones a student's domain knowledge in a particular field. So an honors project must be either in history or philosophy or literature. It consists of guided research and dissertation writing, and it consists of 2 additional courses that the student must take in the chosen discipline. Moving on, I'm just going to show you slides of what the core courses and the in humanities look like for the 3 disciplines that we have, and followed by what the pathway and honors courses look like for us. So everybody can get an idea of the range of courses that we ask our students, that we teach our students, and the kind of possibilities that that come up through these range of courses that our students do in the program. I'm going to come back to. So this is what the humanities program is going to, a combined humanities in philosophy, history, and language and literature looks like at the humanities. If you have any further questions and clarifications about the program, I'll be happy to respond to them at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Varuni. This is Rajgopal. So we'll have Kit now interact with our participants. Kit, you can speak now. You will have to unmute yourself, Kit.
I was muted twice. Yes. Hi, you can hear me now. I'm Kit. I teach philosophy in the humanities. I also teach some of the common curriculum, like Varuni. I just want to pull it together briefly. Something that students often ask me, especially about humanities, is what on earth can you do with it? Here's the big picture. As a country, we're moving towards having much more liberal education, which means you study a much broader range of things. Instead of just studying engineering for 3-4 years or medicine for 3-4 years, you've got to have a broader training in lots of different skills, because, well, that's what the economy is becoming like. Right? Industries are changing, and you'll need to have several different kinds of jobs over your lifetime. So the government increasingly is pushing people towards humanities or towards liberal education in their new education policy, which actually we had, quite a lot of influence over as a university. So that's the big picture for the parents, right? So the whole of India is moving towards a sort of liberal education. You'll get some of that if you do physics. You'll get maybe even more of that if you do humanities at APU. If you go to a good university and you do humanities, you'll get a good job. You won't be able to be a doctor, but you'll be able to work in a huge range of things. In fact, humanities leaves the most doors open if you go to a good university. If you go to a bad university and you do humanities, well, it's not going to be so good. All of that's abstract. Let me tell you about a couple of students that we've had. So we've had a student who's really good. She's working now in Chennai. She's working in an NGO which uses sports to reach out to people who are suffering and have got very rough family lives. So she spends her day going out and meeting them in their homes, then brings them all together and teaches them how to play frisbee competitively. Right. We've got someone else from the same year actually who did humanities, who's now working in Delhi in a fashion magazine, writing these pieces of this in-depth journal research stuff, which normally you don't get to do in journalism for quite a while. So she's landed a really great job there. We've got people who are doing history in archives. We've got people who worked in museums. We've also got a bunch of people who went to university. Probably most of our graduates from humanities so far have gone on to do masters. Some of them have gone abroad, you know, LSE or Bristol or Göttingen in Germany. Although we have a slight leaning towards India as a university, so many more have been to places like DU, Hyderabad, IIT, Gandhinagar. Anyway, enough of that. The message is, you'll be fine if you do humanities at a good university. You'll have a broad range of options, which will be good options. But here's something that I wanted to tell you. APU it's a community. It's quite small. There are around 320 undergraduates or so. And that means that most of us know one another. And it's a community in another sense too. It's based on relationships, both between students. So there's a lot of stuff going on after class, an awful lot of stuff. Everyone lives on campus. And also between students and faculty. You spend a lot of time talking to your faculty out of class about your topic, but you also get to know them personally a bit. There's mentoring schemes, which are really quite close. Okay, that's enough from me. We'll open up now to questions and answers, is it? Or is SV going to speak next? No, I think Rajagopal, over to you.
Yeah. We will, as Rajagopal here, we will go to Q&A. I think that's what we should do. So I'm requesting my colleague, Monidepa, who's on the behind the screens, to really open up and then see what all questions they have. So just to summarize, people who, in case there is somebody who joined in late, my name is Rajagopal. I coordinate admissions for Azim Premji University. I gave a brief introduction on. I just saw that many people just joined in the last 10 minutes or so. Don't worry, you've not missed too much. So I gave a quick introduction on how the programs are structured, the 3-year and the 4-year program. I told them about the selection process, that what we're going to do. We're going to close applications on 20th of April for regular admission. That's Monday. If you have not finished your application form, please don't wait for the last day. Do it as quickly as possible. The dates, we don't have an entrance test date yet. So we will decide. We are watching all the public advisories. We are following what the state governments are doing, and then we'll probably take a call on the entrance test date. After that, after my brief intro, my colleague Prateep spoke about the physics curriculum broadly, how the program is structured, and the importance of common curriculum within the physics program. You know, it's not that you're only learning physics, but along with physics, there's a lot of other aspects of that you'll be learning. Then Varuni spoke about the humanities program. Then people who joined, you heard Kit talking about. I liked what he said. It's a community here at Azim Premji University. So if you have questions now, I think we will take all the questions one by one. I'll take the first question. See, there is somebody who's asking about the placements at the university. We do have a placement cell at the university. I mean, it's been there since 2013 for the postgraduate program, and that we keep extending it. But the placement for us is not only about jobs; it's also about giving them the right kind of advice and mentoring, so that they can also pursue academic paths, right? So it's both ways. It's both trying to see that what do you do after your graduation. So this is my classic. It is something which I tell everybody is try to focus on what we're going to get out of this 3 years at Azim Premji University, wherever you're planning to go. Right? Do kind of a flash forward and see what's going to happen with me in this 3 years? Is it about only, people, we talk too much about skills, but there's something beyond skills that a graduate should have when you graduate, and then the jobs will come after you. So while we're waiting for questions, SV was giving me a hint that should I share the, while we're waiting for question, what I will do is, I had a lot of slides that I showed. I'm going to share that screen one more time, and just stop me if you have more questions. I'm going to show them how the 3-year program structure is going to look like, and then the 4-year program structure. Okay, going to be a repetition of what Marini did. Yeah. Right. So this is exactly what I wanted to show. Yeah. So the 3-year program, because we spoke about common curriculum quite a few times. So it doesn't matter what is the specialization you are choosing to study at Azim Premji University. So just to remind everyone, what you see on the screen is a program structure of the 3-year program, right? So it doesn't matter what is the specialization you're choosing. You have to decide when you enter Azim Premji University. You have to decide what you're going to be doing. But all the students would go through what you see on the right side. That is a common curriculum, right? You'll see foundation courses. The idea of the foundation courses is to see that it's very easy to say by the time you graduate you should have critical thinking capabilities, but how do we do it? So we have a 1-semester course on critical reading. That's where we start, and it goes on to writing and public reasoning, right? Understanding India, I think we have it's quite different from the way you have understood India through the history textbooks. No offense to the way history textbooks are written in schools, but this idea of India is more about the people of India. The third component is interesting, which starts in the. It's not so. Just to before we're waiting for question, common curriculum is not that we something do in the first year and on top of that you're putting physics, maths, biology. No, it kinds of common curriculum runs throughout the semester. In fact, the foundation and understanding in India happens in the first 3 semesters or so, and then the interdisciplinary study option starts in the 4th semester. Right, that's how it works, and you have a choice there, right? You have to choose between development, sustainability, education. I've just written media, but the name of the study area is media and democracy. And if you feel that research is something that you want to really pursue, you go for honors degree. It's not guaranteed that everybody will get an honors degree pathway, but then there's a procedure, there's a process where we will decide that. So can we take questions? I'm sure I'm not seeing the Q&A box now, so please alert me if you have questions to answer. And then
we are getting a lot of questions.
Please,
so the next question will be answered by Varuni. Yeah.
Please remind me to do justice. I have to talk about the 4-year program also later, which I'll do when I get a chance. Over to you, Varuni.
Varuni, you're on mute.
Sorry. So I'm answering the question. There's a question here that says, will we be offering courses on politics and international relations? That's a great question. And one of the short answer is, in the present way in which our curriculum is designed, we do not have courses particularly designed towards international relations. We do offer courses roughly around politics. So one of my colleagues offers a course called Politics in India as a part of Understanding India set of courses. It's a common curriculum course, not necessarily a humanities course. And we are looking forward to thinking about a social science major. Once that comes around, we will have courses around politics and international relations, more than one course around it. But at present, we do not have courses that are specifically designed towards 20th century international relations. Of course, if you think about international relations more broadly, about relationships between different parts of the world, across historical epochs and times, then our history courses more than adequately address those kinds of concerns. Okay, over to back to Monideepa and Rajagopal.
Rajgopal, I would like you to answer this question. The next question comes in. What is the hostel facilities like for girls? Rajgopal, you're on mute.
I'll take the next question that before we go into the hostel facility, let me see the published question of if I do, Patna Kumar, that question that you asked, if I do honors, do I get a BA honors degree? That's correct, right? That's exactly what's going to happen. But you don't enter the honors pathway when you join Azim Premji University. That's a decision that you would make together, discussing with your faculty mentor. And there is an entry criteria that you make towards sometime in the third semester. Right? So, but the question on hostels, I think the best people to talk will be our faculty members, because some of them do stay at the campus as and when required. So if the question is about hostel facility, have you published that question, Monideepa, hostels?
Not yet.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we will take the questions only that is published, right? And we can move it into the queue. So I'm going to request my colleagues who is ready to talk about the hostel life question.
I can take that.
Yeah, Pradeep, you're live.
Yeah, so I mean, the hostel life, we obviously follow the UGC regulations, which require the girls and boys hostels to be segregated. So we have two separate buildings, as you will, for the hostels. The hostel facilities, I would say, are very comfortable. They are not ostentatious and fancy, but they're comfortable, and there are double sharing rooms in one of our buildings for the girls, and in another one we have kind of apartment style accommodation where you have 3-bedroom apartments with 2 girls per bedroom. There are shared toilet facilities, and you have all the other facilities that a hostel should have, like laundry, common areas, and things like that. The space is quite sufficient, I think, for people to spend time in their rooms studying, whether in small groups or just by yourself, and a lot of common spaces where you can study, again, in groups or by yourself. I'm not sure what else you're looking for in a hostel, but and the other things are things like the cafeteria, the gym, some of the other spaces like the counseling rooms, things like that. They're all right next to the hostel or right below the hostel. So everything is very accessible and nearby. Yeah, I think that's.
Okay, there is an English course questions. Who would like to take that?
Yeah, I can take that, Monideepa. Srinivas.
Srinivas, you can speak now. People won't be able to see you.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, my name is S.V. Srinivas, and I teach in the Humanities program. I teach literature and media courses. The question on English, I mean, literature courses, whether we do only Indian literature or whether we do other courses as well. Yes, we do other literatures as well. We try to have an India focus in some of the courses, but we don't want to say that this is a course on any particular literature, whether English, British English literature or Indian English literature. The purpose of the literature courses is to train you to be a student of all literatures. Okay, so the focus is on building skills and abilities, and also a sensibility as literature students. Yeah, thank you.
We have another question on what are the elective choices for humanities. Varuni, you're on mute.
Okay. Yes. So when you, I had shared it in the slide, and if it's possible for me to share that slide again, is it possible, Monideepa, or should I just talk about them?
You could share that. It will take a minute or so, but yeah, we can do that. Okay,
because there is the elective courses are mentioned in the slide, and they are quite an exciting bunch of courses. I mean, sometimes I wish I could be a student once again in order to take these courses, because I went to a very traditional kind of a history program where you basically did ancient India, medieval India, modern India, and you moved on from there. These courses, and I wonder if people can see the slide that is in front of them. These are the pathways and the honors courses. The first rectangular block over here is language and literature. The second one is history, and the third one are philosophy courses that are currently on offer. Not all the courses are offered at all times, but depending upon student interest and faculty availability and interest, these courses are taught in over a period of time. So some of the courses that we have over here: the body in society, literary criticism and theory, critical writing, intellectual cultures of modernity on the side of history, history from the margins. These have been extremely popular courses, and students have enjoyed being in them. Aesthetics and philosophy of art, paradoxes, for instance. These are all, these have been very, very popular courses. Some courses we have that we have up here, we are planning to offer in the future. So professional and popular histories, for instance, is a course that the history faculty is very much looking forward to. It's going to be a course about how historians, professional historians, look at history and how history operates in the popular realm, in conversations, across dinner table conversations, across social media, in images, in popular films, for instance, and so on and so forth. So these are the kinds of courses that we are looking forward to. These are the kinds of electives that you will have, in front of you. The core courses, of course, are somewhat more conservative, if I may use the word, and somewhat more standard, and deal with really giving you the basic skills, capacities, and domain knowledge that you can have in these three disciplines. Yeah, over to you, Monideepa.
Kate, can you answer the next question, please?
I think it will really help if you can read out the question. I'm sure Kit will do that.
I'm really keen on doing humanities at APU, but I'm a science student.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So good news for people who have done science but want to do humanities. We've got plenty of people who come in from science. I hear that in 10th and 12th standard, humanities is kind of bottom of the rung. It's the thing that you do if you don't get a chance to do anything else. It's not like that in APU, I'm afraid. Humanities is pretty tough, and you'll use your science knowledge too. So we have a course, for example, philosophy of science, where we go and we read Einstein, we understand quantum mechanics, not some sort of watered down version of it. We read the original and we understand the maths of it. So that's good news. If you've done science, your science knowledge will be put to use. You'll be able to use your humanities skills that you learn in college to understand science better, understand what you've done better. It's intimidating news for those people who want to do humanities at APU but kind of hate science or hate maths. Don't worry, everyone gets through it. The idea is, in humanities at APU, we're training you in basic capabilities so that you can go out into the world and do a huge range of things. And that's why you'll be learning a little bit of mathematical skills as well. Okay, that was a long answer. Here's the short answer. Yeah, it's absolutely fine if you've done science before. You can definitely thrive in humanities at APU. Plenty of people have.
Okay, Kit, I would like you to, I think we have a question for you. The person has asked that you have a beautiful British accent, and I just wanted to ask if I could get opportunities abroad after studying at APU.
My accent is terrible. Even Britishers ask me where I'm from. Yeah, no, if you're struggling with my accent, I'm sorry. It takes people about 2 weeks to get really used to, but you do get used to it. Don't worry. Can you study abroad? Yes, you can. There's a reality that studying in some places in America is not possible if you've gone through the Indian education system, because you don't have enough years to satisfy the mandatory minimum. Not all places in the States, but some places. So then you have to do a master's after college. You do a 4-year degree at undergraduate. Although some of our students have gone to America, some of them have gone to the UK, LSE I mentioned, Bristol, we're sending a couple of people this year, and to Germany as well. We've got a few people in Holland. I have to say there's a focus in the university on India. And as a result, although this certainly will qualify you to get into good universities in Europe, we've got more people who are just interested in staying around in India, getting involved here with NGOs or learning more about India. So we have more, I think, going to master's programs in India. There's a slight focus away from the international. But yeah, the short answer again, sure, it will equip you to get into a master's program abroad, in Europe especially.
Okay, we are getting a bunch of career opportunities questions. So ask Harsh's question, what do the humanities studies pursue their master's or further education in?
Yeah, this is Srinivas. I'm sorry you can't see me. But what do our students do after their undergraduation? As Kit was saying, some of them go on to work, and we do not, we do not recommend any particular, future or a particular track for our students. We allow them to choose their options, and as far as master's programs are concerned, our students have done master's or have been admitted in master's programs ranging from anthropology, history, literature, media, and journalism. What else? And some other, interdisciplinary studies programs in both India and abroad. So there are. Let me assure those of you worried about what will we do after a humanities undergraduation. Let me assure you that there are a whole range of options. You're not going to be, at loss for figuring out what you want to do next. In fact, you might be spoiled for choice. There might be a lot of things a lot of possibilities that are opening up, and you'll have to sit and decide in your third year what you want to do. Yeah. In terms of jobs, or broadly speaking, careers, not just higher education, we keep, as Varuni and Kit have pointed out, we are preparing you for, for a future that is not specific. We are not training you up to do a management exam at the end of your BA, right? If you want to do it, go ahead. You can study for it and take the test. You're not going to be at a loss. But what we're preparing you with is a whole range of skills that should help you no matter where you go. There's several questions here on research training that's happening in the humanities program. Whether or not you do the honors program, let's, for the moment, let me leave the honors program aside. Whether or not you do the honors program, you're going to do a huge amount of reading and writing, and your reading skills, your comprehension skills, your analytical skills, and your writing skills will improve drastically over the 3 years of the program. So you are going to be reasonably well placed to do research, either with an independent research organization or to do a research track for your master's program. If you do your honors program, there will of course be a lot more reading and writing, and therefore you're going to be that much more prepared. Now, the question on what kind of research training do you get in honors is too broad for me to answer here. But let me just put it like this: that you are going to be constantly challenged in the perhaps much more so in the honors than in the regular courses. You will be asked to come up with your own proposal, work on it, come up with with a research plan, go ahead and complete the research project in 3 semesters, and then write a report which is about 10,000 words, right? So it is quite rigorous, it's quite enjoyable, and you are going to be, I think, as well trained as a master's level student actually. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I think we'll take the next question. Are there any courses related to political science and the theory are part of the humanities program?
Okay, I'll take that, I guess. Yes, there are some courses related to political science. It comes in some history courses, which Varuni maybe can tell us a little bit more about. There's also a political philosophy course, and also an introduction to philosophy course, which covers political theory at a more abstract level. Varuni, anything to add about the history one?
Varuni, you're muted now.
Yes. Yes, so the history courses, we have a good bunch of courses around imperialism and colonialism that covers if not directly, but definitely in a tangential fashion, the development of political thought in the West across a good 4 to 5 centuries. So the development of political thought such as liberalism, for instance, and its translation to democratic ideas in the context of both the colonial part of the world, which is various parts of Asia, Africa, and the Americas, as well as in the European West, is covered in the history curriculum. Alongside that, we also have modules in history and also in the common curriculum in Understanding India, where we look pretty extensively at the political thought of key Indian thinkers like Mahatma Gandhi, B.R. Ambedkar, Jawaharlal Nehru, and we look at how their political thought has evolved as a result of the engagement that they had with anti-colonial movements and with the sociological realities in India of their times. So there is quite a bit of politics and political theory that we cover in our classrooms, even though we don't yet have a separate we don't have a disciplinary major in social studies or in political science at the moment.
Okay, Varuni, I would ask you the next question. How do we take up theatre, dramatics, and other creative areas during humanities program at Azim Premji University?
Okay, that's an absolutely excellent question because it allows us to talk about something that is crucial to community life at Azim Premji University that we haven't yet touched upon, which are the great number of clubs and student-run societies that we have on our campus. So I can give you the names of a few clubs. We have the photography club, we have the film club, which my colleague S.V. Srinivas is very closely associated with. Alongside that, we have the astronomy club that my colleague who's here with us, Pradeep, is very closely associated with. So these club activities, which is what students do after their class hours, become a very important space for students to find their creative selves. Students often undertake these activities together. There is also a reading club, for instance, and so students find a way to do these activities together on a weekly basis through these clubs. The other thing that we have in our university, which also hasn't come up yet, as a part of the curriculum, as a part of the common curriculum for all students across disciplines, we have something called creative expressions, which all students have to do for 2 semesters for the first year. And in this creative expressions, which students take for credit at our university, there is a whole range of creative activities that they are that they do. They can learn dance, they can learn embroidery, they can learn sewing, they can learn guitar, which is an extremely popular one. They can learn Silambakam. There's a whole range of activities that our students are able to participate in that appeals to the creative side. Woodwork, one of my mentees at the university, has taken up woodwork and has been making, and it's amazing, he's making these beautiful earrings carved out of wood. And it's just really amazing to see that kind of passion for creative work that our students are able to engage in.
The next question will be for Pratik. So we have a few questions for you as well. Is it possible to do a dual degree in BSc Physics and BSc Maths? Pratik, you're muted. Pratik, if you could unmute yourselves, please.
Okay. So, no, so you cannot do a dual degree in, two different programs at our university. So the only dual degree that we have is the 4-year BSc B.Ed dual degree. So you cannot really do biology and physics or physics and maths. However, the physics program does have a lot of math courses. So a BSc in physics will give you several courses in mathematics, and in addition to that, you could take extra courses beyond your minimum required 84 courses if you choose to, and do some extra electives in mathematics. We also have the interdisciplinary studies, where you will have, more, I won't say mathematics related courses, but courses that are a little bit more geared towards data science, collecting data, data analysis, programming, things like that.
And the next question will be, regarding the honors project in physics, can we focus it on an elective topic like astronomy, if that is my interest? Yeah. Actually, I didn't get to talk at all about the honors program. So the honors program in physics, which you, if you choose to do it and you're selected, again, there's no guarantee that you'll be selected for the honors program. You have to submit a proposal, and then we have to make sure that the proposal is something that is viable and well thought out. And then you get selected for the honors program. If you do, the way the honors program goes is that you basically have to choose an honors mentor. And frankly speaking, the honors mentor can be any faculty member within the university. And I'm saying that some of my humanities colleagues may think it's kind of a crazy idea, but you could potentially choose even a humanities faculty person, and maybe you want to do an honors program on the philosophy of physics, and Kit may be a really good mentor for that. And you may have you'll have a co-mentor who'll be part of the physics faculty. That said, we have had honors students who have done projects that are based in the biology lab, projects that are highly mathematical in nature, projects that are to do with science education and creating school curricula in science, whether it's in maths or in physics. So the honors program is very flexible. It can be pretty much on any topic that is even peripherally related to physics. So yeah, I mean. So Pratik, not moving to the humanities questions again, I'll take the next physics question. The 4-year integrated course in BSc and Education, Physical Sciences, here only physics is taught, or physical sciences, which is a combination of both physics and chemistry?
Yeah, that's a good question. You would have noticed from our website that we don't have a chemistry program. So I do understand that that is something that we will try, and we're thinking of starting a chemistry program, but not anytime soon. We do have courses in chemistry, and the BSc Physics, B.Ed BSc Physics in APU, we have, you will be able to take 1 to 2 chemistry courses, but it's not, you won't be taking an equal number of courses in physics and chemistry for the physical sciences. So when we say physical sciences, we mean that it's predominantly going to be physics courses, a couple courses in mathematics, a couple courses in chemistry, and a fair number of courses in physics and in education.
Okay, moving on to a few humanities questions now. Kit, I would like you to answer this question. What are the kind of projects that we will be doing during the humanities program? Kit, if you could unmute yourself, please.
Everyone's doing that. So sorry. The honours projects, what was the question, or the?
Yeah, what kind of projects that you will be doing during the course?
So, quite a lot in the humanities course and quite a lot in the common curriculum, and they're pretty varied. I'll give a scattering of specific examples to give you a sense of the variety. So you might be going out, you will be going out into the local area and maybe doing a survey on water usage in the nearby village, or going into one of the schools and talking to them about languages and whether Kannada should be taught or it should be English medium. You may well be doing a project in your philosophy as well, which might be connected to fieldwork, or it might not. I've got a student right now who's working on the puzzle of immoral art, right? Art which seems to be about immoral, bad people. Not art that's saying that they're bad, but art that seems kind of sordid, kind of dodgy itself. People who enjoy this disgusting or immoral art, are they bad people? What's going on? What are they getting out of it? So one of my honours students is working on that puzzle. Been working on it quite a while. We get into a lot of depth. We have these nice, lovely conversations which last an hour or so a week, just back and forth. So we've got another honours student who's working on music in education, another honours student who's working on the idea of suffering as it appears in Sufism and in some forms of Buddhism. So I hope that gives you the beginnings of a sense of the range of projects. It's huge. And I really encourage students to also do projects that are outside of the framework of the normal curriculum. Right, so if you're just interested in something and you find a member of faculty is interested in it, you go to them and you say, I'm really interested in this. Can I write about this? Will you read it? Will you help me? And the answer is usually yes. So you've got quite a few students doing interesting things in that way.
Also, there are a lot of economics related questions. Could we have a quick chat on the economics as well?
Sure. Shall I do that one?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, so what have we got for economics questions? I'll search through and find some, see if I can get particularly to what you're interested in. Economics questions. Do you have any, Manideepa? Specific? Oh, please share details of economic undergraduate program also. Sure, you can go online and check that out. There's no economist in the room right now. The economics program is really good. Great faculty, really well taught. It's more leaning towards India and leaning towards sort of applied economic work than other universities perhaps. There's a thing called CORE, which is a new way of teaching economics. What happened was after the financial collapse in 2008, 2013, students said, hey, we're doing economics in college, but our economics hasn't helped us to understand this global financial crisis. And off the back of that, a few universities like Manchester, Bristol, NYU, and Azim Premji started to develop a different way of teaching economics, which is more plugged into the real world. You do the theory, you do the high level deriving of theorems, but it's also applied specifically to concrete cases. Right? You'll learn about the specific unemployment in India, which is something our Department of Economics spends a lot of time on. You also, if you do humanities, do a bit of economics. I mean, I love economics. I find it thrilling. So in one of the courses, you'll be spending some time learning how to read the latest economic research, learning how to evaluate whether the latest ideas in economics are just fads which will come and go, or whether there's something that you should be kind of using in whatever job you end up in or wherever you end up. So yeah, there's And like the physics, you have to do the real thing. You have to read the real economics papers. You don't get a toy version of it. Other economics questions, or have we got that covered?
Not so far. So I'd like Rajgopal to answer a few questions. Rajgopal, we've been getting questions around the entrance test and how to prepare for the entrance test, and a little about the fee structure and everything. Could you just clarify those questions, please?
Sure, I'll do that. I'll make it as quick as possible. See, the entrance test, it's the sample question papers are available on the website. If you don't spot them, send us an email. We'll share that. So it's got two parts, right? Part A is a multiple choice component part that is common for all the programs. It doesn't matter. You may be doing a 3-year program, science, economics, humanities, or the 4-year program. That part A multiple choice is common. What does it consist of? It consists of English reading comprehension, a passage given, and a couple of questions. The second part of the multiple choice component, it has got a numerical ability question. I'm deliberately not using the word mathematics, but yes, it is trying to see your mathematical and logical ability. So that's the multiple choice part. The part B is a descriptive essay component that you will pick the section depending on the program that you have applied. So when you go inside part B, you'll see five sections, that is maths, physics, biology, humanities, economics. You jump into the section that is your preferred major and answer that, right? It is not a speed test, right? Number one thing, we're not trying to put anybody under pressure. But the one thing to remember while you do the multiple choice part, many people miss that aspect. It is quite clearly written on the instruction page that we do have negative marking. So don't get into guesswork. If you're preparing for similar entrance examination, you will think, oh, this is quite easy. But when it should not be looking at the entrance test paper on that day of the examination. It's always good to prepare a little bit. Go to the sample papers out there and come. So that's about the entrance test, right? The second part, I see a lot of questions about fees and scholarship at Azim Premji University. Let me start by saying everybody studies on scholarship at Azim Premji University in that sense, right? This is when I said it's a philanthropic university. This is not a university operating on student fees. So how is the fees decided? The fee that you see on the website, that's the tuition fee of 2,10,000, and the accommodation charges of 76,000 that you see on the website is for a family with income more than 15 lakhs. But that's not the cost per student. So if your family income is more than 15 lakhs, you'll pay that full fee of 2,10,000 tuition fee and accommodation charges, right? Very few make that kind of money in India. What do we do? So this is where the need-based, we don't have merit scholarships yet. So we have need-based scholarships. If a family income is less than that, we provide fee waivers, not money paid out, not cash paid out, but fee waivers on both tuition and accommodation. So that's it. So there are students who may be paying nothing. Somebody may be paying 25,000. Some may pay 50, 1 lakh, 2, 3 lakh, depending on the financial ability of their family. So that's a quick summary, and leave the finance part to us. Please focus on understanding the program. How's my learning experience going to be? Absolutely wonderful questions. I'm quite thrilled that we did this. I was skeptical when we were starting. It's a new platform, Microsoft Teams. We've not done it, but superb questions. We're really loving it. We're not able to do it in the right order that you have asked. Apologies, but the finance, that's the thing, right? So the 15 lakh is a number that I said, but there could be families with more liabilities, and we have a separate discussion that we have with you on the day of the interviews to understand your needs and then decide what the waiver could be. So I just said tuition, accommodation, food charges you pay as you would spend. There's no, but if there are cases where we feel that students need to be supported by for food also, we'll do that. And apart from that, on exception cases, we also provide them with laptops. If they have to go for a field work, if somebody needs financial support, we do that. So everything is not there on the website. On the website, you'll only talk about 50% scholarship, 75% scholarship, 100% scholarship, right? That's what. But much beyond that, there's a lot of financial support that's happening. And in today's world, in today's India, we are looking at providing data allowance for students so that they have a seamless online experience of attending classes. So I'll stop here. I think I spoke too much. So that's a quick summary for all the questions that is there on the entrance test and fees. Do we talk about the 4-year program briefly? I don't think we have spoken about the 4-year program. Are there any questions, Monideepa, on the 4-year program?
We are slowly receiving questions. So first, let us answer the questions that we are getting. Okay. We'll slowly move to the 4-year questions, if any. Varuni, I would ask you the next question. What will be learning in the philosophy honors program?
That could be both Kit and Varuni's, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw another question which could be answered together. I think it's a valid question which I had asked Kit some time back, that philosophy is not something that they would have learned in the 11th or 12th in India. How difficult is it going to be to adapt to a philosophy or to do those philosophy courses at Azim Premji University? So you can combine both and then answer. Yeah.
Varuni, you're going to answer, or shall I?
No, I think you're going to take the philosophy questions, Kit, if that is all right with you.
Okay, I'll do the philosophy ones, you get the history ones. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the questions were, once again, what will we be learning in the philosophy honours programme? And I've studied history and English in school, but haven't studied philosophy, nor can I even define it. Will that affect my admission to the university? Let's take the second question first. No one studied philosophy before, or pretty much no one. Don't worry. You can't define it. Well, that's okay. What we're looking for in the entrance assessment is the way that you think. Can you think carefully and slowly? Can you criticize your own views? Can you find flaws in your own arguments? If you got that, you're going to have a good chance of being really good at philosophy. Although, to be honest, philosophy is a hard work thing. If you love it and you work hard at it, you end up good. The really great philosophers are just guys who have worked steadily at it and had integrity to notice their own mistakes in their arguments, to challenge their own views over time. What will you be learning? Well, mainly you're learning capabilities. You're learning that how to think slow, how to work with people who strongly disagree with you, how to work in several different traditions. And we learn those things by asking these questions which seem actually pretty abstract, like, what makes it the case that I'm the same person now as the person who went to sleep in my bed last night? Or, okay, murder's wrong, but what in the world makes it wrong? I've never seen the fact that murder's wrong, so what is it? Questions like these, or how should we run a society together, given that we've all got different ideas about what it means to be a good person? So we explore these questions, and by asking these questions in detail, with care, and challenging ourselves and working with people who disagree with us, we learn these core capabilities, which are the ones with the really valuable, useful things. Okay, that's hopefully enough for philosophy. Let me add one more thing, sorry. I could tell you what philosophy is, but it's really abstract and weird. If you want to know what philosophy is, the best advice is just to do it, just to do some philosophy. You can look around, there's a few videos, I think, on our website about that, about where to start looking for that. There'll be more information coming. Sorry.
Okay, Varuni, on with the history question, please.
Okay, so is there a question that you have for me specifically, Monideepa? Yeah, go ahead.
Will we be studying both world and Indian history in our 3-year program?
Okay, that's excellent question. Yeah, so let me tell you this. When the focus of the program is India, and by India I don't just mean the strict nation-state boundaries of India, but the region of South Asia in general. Because when we look at what is meant by India in the long, history, in over a period of 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 years, then we see that we are looking at a region, at how ecologically, politically, socially, and historically, what are the broad changes or transformations that have happened in this region in general. So are we going to be looking only at India in our program? The simple answer to the question is yes and no. Yes, because our focus is Indian history, and no, because when we look at Indian history, or what we mean by Indian history is placing India in the world. So we constantly do a contextualized history of the subcontinent. And I want to repeat and underline that we do a history of the subcontinent, of the area that otherwise is also known as South Asia, but in different kinds of records, from travelers' records all the way down to how we understand it today, is known as India. So there is a lot of world history concepts and theories that frame the context of the kind of histories that we do in our classroom, but we do not necessarily look at dynastic or political history, let us say, of the Chinese dynasties, or let us say of kind of European political history in its very detailed or factual fashion. But we do look at broad concepts. We look at engagements, exchanges, and the manner in which global transformations, global historical transformations have impacted South Asia in an important way. Yeah.
Okay, Varuni, there are a bunch of interesting questions. Let me go with the next one. Does the literature course give space to minority-related writings or translated writings?
Yes, absolutely, it does. In fact, we have a whole course which is called Indian Literatures. We look at different kinds of Indian literatures, and my colleague, both my colleagues Nitya and Srinivas will be able to answer that question much more in detail than me, because they teach these courses. But yes, very much so. We look at minority literatures. We take a very good look at them. We look at minority literatures theoretically, conceptually, and we also teach them in our classes. We definitely teach literatures in translation. Including looking at what translation does to literature. What does it mean for literature to be translated into different languages? But in many cases, in our classrooms, we read literatures in translation. And that is something that happens not merely in an English literature classroom, but will also happen in a history classroom. For instance, in a history classroom, when I will ask my students to read an autobiography or selections from an autobiography that is written in one of the Indian languages. Let us take the example of Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography written in Gujarati, but when we read them in the classroom, we are obviously reading them in translation. So we do read different kinds of materials in translation across the board in the humanities.
Okay, the next question comes as we are getting multiple questions surrounding this particular topic. What kinds of skills will be imparted in the BA Humanities program?
So the skills part is actually really crucial for our program. I cannot underline how important we consider skills to be. We consider them to be a part of capacities. Skill building is as my colleagues Srinivas and Kit mentioned before that in their comments, we are not necessarily training you only to go ahead and do a master's in a humanities subject. We would like you to after your graduation, after your undergraduate degree from our university, to be able to offer your analytical skills, your writing skills, your communication skills, and your thinking skills, critical thinking skills, wherever that you can, in as many different kinds of contexts that you are able to. So in that sense, all of these skills that I mentioned, critical thinking, analytical thinking, writing, and reading, are very, very important skills that, irrespective of the content of the course, you will be developing in the course of doing your undergraduate degree, your 3-year degree at our university.
Thank you, Varuni. Thank you for the wonderful answer. I would request Pradeep to take a few physics questions. Pradeep, we are getting a few physics questions. What does the BSc B.Ed part of the BSc B.Ed dual degree involve?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the BSc B.Ed Physics program essentially has exactly the same courses as the BSc Physics, which is for the physics part. Now the B.Ed part, there are a lot of education courses, education theory, sociology of education, school and society, lots of other education related courses. And in your 4th year of the BSc B.Ed program, you will do a 1 semester field immersion at a school or an educational institution as part of the BSc B.Ed program. You will also have to take some level of chemistry and maths courses. So actually the BSc B.Ed program has the same amount of physics courses and some extra science courses along with a whole host of education related courses, both fieldwork and theoretical courses.
Okay, the next question comes as another doubt related to the practical aspect of studying astronomy. What are the facilities for practical study?
Yeah, so I think both Varuni and Rajgopal kind of mentioned this. We have an astronomy club. We have several campus telescopes. One very nice telescope which the university has bought. So we have a lot of, every week we have stargazing nights on campus. As part of the astronomy course itself, I actually teach that course. So I take students on field trips to observatories, other research labs in Bangalore. Bangalore is sort of like an astronomy kind of capital of India in terms of the institutions that there are that do exclusively high quality astronomy research. So we are lucky in that sense to be able to take field trips and interface with astronomers at these institutes. We have a lot of guest lectures, things like that. So we do a lot of practical work in astronomy. Bangalore still has a fair number of good night skies, days of night, clear skies. And our campus is a little away from the city, so the night sky is even darker. So we do a lot of stargazing, and a lot of students have taken some excellent photographs of the night sky. So we get a good practical feel of what it is to do astronomy in the very practical sense.
Okay, Pradeep, the next question, is there any chance to start higher degree program in future with MSc Physics? Yeah,
it's a good question. Maybe Rajgopal can also answer, but my 2 cents is that we will probably not start a pure MSc program in the science in physics or biology. However, we are looking into in the future. I mean, this is a few years down the line. We are looking at starting programs in interdisciplinary things that go well with the university and the foundation's mission. So things like ecology, climate change, environmental sciences, things that the university is deeply involved with in terms of how science and society interface. Those areas we may eventually have master's programs, but not in pure physics or pure mathematics, pure biology.
Okay, Pradeep, the next question comes in as, does the university have quantum physics course?
Yeah, so yes, we do have an elective in quantum mechanics or quantum physics. It is not a core course because it's an advanced course, and frankly, even to join a master's program in physics, you don't need very high level quantum physics at the undergraduate level. We do have a core course in modern physics, which will cover some topics in quantum mechanics, which should be sufficient for you to get into a master's program in physics if you choose to.
Okay, I'm very keen to study psychology and behavioral science. Does APU offer anything in that? I would like someone to answer that question.
I mean, I can just say briefly, we don't really have psychology or behavioral sciences courses. However, we do have a course in neurobiology, and that involves quite a bit of field work as well, actually going and seeing some neurobiology facilities in Bangalore, like the NIMHANS hospital. But we have been thinking about starting a psychology program, but that's again out in the future. I don't know, Rajgopal can probably answer a little bit more about this.
Okay, I want to pursue astrophysics. Can I do a master's in astrophysics after completing a BSc in physics? Yeah, so good question. India doesn't have a pure master's program in astronomy and astrophysics. So you can do an astrophysics program in Europe, which some of our students actually are doing, having finished a BSc in physics, but not in India. So the way it would work in India is you'd join an MSc physics in India after doing a BSc physics at APU. You can also actually join an MTech program. Some MTech programs actually directly, for example, the Calcutta University MTech program directly feeds some students who are interested into the astronomy PhD program at the Indian Institute of Astrophysics in Bangalore. So you can do that, and then after doing MSc in physics, you can actually do a PhD in astronomy at at least 3 or 4 different institutions in India, maybe even more actually. Okay, the last question for you, Pradeep. Can I do an elective course in biology or maths while doing the BSc in physics? I've not studied biology at class 11 and 12 level.
Right. So actually, frankly speaking, those of you who have not done biology or physics, or actually even the sciences at the +2 level, are still eligible to apply for the science programs at APU. It's just that the first couple semesters, you may need to brush up on some 10th standard and 11th and 12th standard physics and biology. That said, the physics program will has some space for you to take a few electives in biology and in mathematics. So there are some courses that actually are cross-listed between mathematics, biology, and physics. So we have a biophysics course, for example. We have a computational biology course. In mathematics, there are some courses in maths that will also satisfy physics credits. But if you're a standard BSc physics student, within the 84 credits, you may be able to take at most 1 or 2 such electives outside of physics. If you're doing an honors program, then you have an additional 2 courses available to you as electives. So your choices are a little bit more if you do the honors program.
Thank you, Pradeep. Kit, we are getting a lot of questions regarding the career opportunities after doing the program. So could you answer this question as a broad, because we have received a lot of questions. Kit, you are muted.
I knew I was on mute. Sure. The short story is, if you do humanities at a good university, you're leaving as many doors open to your future as you can. You're closing some doors. If you want to go and be a doctor, don't do humanities at undergraduate. If you want to go and be a chemical engineer, don't do humanities at undergraduate. If you want to get a good job, if you want to go into, you're not quite sure you want to go into, do humanities at a good university. Okay, that's the short story, but it's not, it sounds vague and fluffy. So I want to give you some examples to just give you a sense of the range of things you can do if you do humanities. You can go into journalism. You're trained to write clearly, to understand social issues, to understand context. So definitely you can go into journalism, into writing. You can go into working in museums. We've had people in archives and museums. You can go into further study in philosophy. Those are things which are carrying forward the stuff that you do in humanities classes in a fairly straightforward way. But you can do an awful lot more where maybe you're no longer thinking exactly about history or literature or philosophy anymore, but you're using those same capabilities. You can go into management in corporates. One of the biggest outputs of philosophy, if you can believe it, is computer programming, right? Not managing computer program, but actually doing the programming, because it gives you some mathematical skills, some creative skills, it gives you rigor. So you could go into that. You can work in the NGO sector. A lot of our guys go and work in the NGO sector or become activists. A lot of civil service, of course. Civil boards is a thing a lot of people come to us wanting to do, and that's an option. Although we don't prepare you specifically for the civil boards, you'll have the capabilities to be a really good civil servant. So the answer is, put your mind at ease. There are really, really good jobs which you definitely can get if you do humanities at APU or humanities at any good university. And you're closing off as little as you can by doing humanities. Put your mind at ease. I can't tell you the full range of jobs because there's just too many of them, but hopefully I've given you a bit of a sample.
Thank you, Kit. And we have a bunch of questions for you. So next question, in the 12th grade, I have not done mathematics. Can I get back to mathematics along with humanities?
Yes, for sure. I mean, a lot of our students who come and do humanities were told by some horrible maths teacher, I shouldn't say that, shouldn't I? They were told that they couldn't do maths in school, and they didn't do it since 10th. And when it comes to doing maths in philosophy, they're a little bit, terrified of it. Some of them. Everyone gets through. The sort of maths that we do, the way we teach it, is just nothing like the maths you've done in school. It'll be fine. It's nothing. It's not a thing to worry about. Everyone gets through it, and many people learn to overcome that fear that they had about it, and some of them learn to love it.
Okay, what are the advantages of studying at Azim Premji University rather than studying humanities anywhere else?
Yeah, so there are really good places out there, and I want to advertise some of them now. Hey, Ashoka's really good. It's got an outstanding philosophy department I love. Korea, you should check that out. They got some great humanities stuff. There's a lot of good places you can study. I encourage you go and study. Well, we're not in competition with them. We're not here selling Azim Premji University. The thing you need to find out is which one is going to suit you best. Now, what's slightly distinctive about Azim Premji University, I suppose, is the closeness of the community. It's smaller. It's much more tightly knit. The sort of faculty-student relationships are probably closer. We probably put more into teaching than the other kind of places I mentioned. The way we do philosophy is a bit different. We're less about the history of it, the who said what. We're more about the finding the answers to those deep questions. But it's not a competition. I think the thing to do is just get a flavour of these places. Decide which one sort of suits you more. You're going to get a world-class education here or there. You really are. We're really good teachers, and so are they.
Okay. We are moving towards the close of the seminar. So a few questions on extracurriculars. I would like someone to answer that question.
SV hasn't spoken for a while. How about him?
SV, would you like to take that question? What is extracurriculars like at APU? I know there are clubs on campus, but how do the activities manifest themselves and the fests and competitions and so on?
Yeah, okay. Now, let me start with the second question first. Because we're quite far from the city, there isn't that much of a presence of our students in fests and so on. But they have made quite a splash in the more academic oriented events beyond the campus. They've gone to economics festivals in different colleges and so on. So on campus itself, there are several clubs that students are part of. There's a lot of activity that happens in the evenings, before dinner, after dinner on campus, and almost every day of the week there's something happening. In fact, there are complaints that there are too many activities happening on campus. So if whoever asked this question is interested in, let's say, participating in national level debating competitions every week, I have to say they're going to be disappointed, because we don't have that kind of time for our students. Our students are going to be working pretty hard. They're also expected to be active physically. So there's sports activity happening in the evening. There's yoga. There's different dance forms and so on. So between all of this, there isn't that much time to go out into the city and be an active debater or model UN participant and so on. But it is a rich college life, and you can be sure that at least on 5 days a week, you're going to be wondering, which club do you want to go to? I mean, how am I going to spend my evening? That's the kind of question that our students have. So, yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Srinivas. So we are moving on to the final part of the seminar. I would request Rajgopal to answer the final 2 questions about the scholarships and also about how to prepare for the entrance test, since that is around the corner.
No, I think, yeah, thank you, Munidip. I think I answered about the scholarship part. What we have is need-based scholarships. So they should look at the website. We are trying to be as transparent as possible of putting up what is the fees that you would pay if your income is this, right? So at that level, we have given it on the website. So my quick request to all watching this is, don't worry about the finances now. There's enough time. Spend time in understanding the program and the curriculum. I mean, I know it's not right to say that finances, the way the higher education, the expenses is skyrocketing in higher education. It's quite scary. But at Azim Premji University, we'll work with you. We will talk to you and then decide what kind of a fee waivers you would need. Right. So that's about scholarship. How to prepare? That's a very tough question to answer that question. How to prepare? The idea of the question paper is so that you know the level of difficulty. It's not a tough examination in that sense, but it's English language comprehension capability that somebody finishing school should have. Numerical, again, the mathematical capability is what we are looking at. What somebody finishing school should have. I'm not even using the word secondary school. So that's what we're looking at. But there's a lot of variation in the way English and maths is done in the country. So some may find it quite challenging. But it's good to practice those sample papers out there or similar papers out there, and then do that. People who are asking about the programs, our future programs, yeah, I was restricting myself from forward-looking statements, but from a 1,000 student university, right? We have more than 1,000 students at the university. We're going to add more programs in the future when we move to the new campus coming up at Sarjapur. Definitely there'll be new majors coming up, including psychology or chemistry, which Prateep was talking about. They will have, but are we not teaching psychology at all? No, we do have psychology even in part of in the biology program. Also, I've seen psychology. There's been covered. If you look at the education major, they will have child psychology. You can't call yourself an educator unless you know child psychology. So we will have all the Vygotsky and the Piaget coming in there, but psychology as a major, we don't have it yet. And that's one question that I keep asking myself whoever I meet. Why is that there is a sudden interest in doing psychology, not just in India, probably in the globe? But a quick before I think we need to end this webinar. So I'm just summarizing with 3 points for anybody who's looking at Azim Premji University. Number 1, we want you to whatever area you choose, whatever discipline you choose, we want to make you an expert in that area. If you're taking physics, we want you to think like a scientist and be a scientist, or if it's a humanities, we want you to become a historian, right? There's no compromise. Second is, it's not like there's too much of content and we want you to completely, I know how the school system works here. So it's not that there are too much of content. We want to see that you also develop self-learning capabilities, right? If something new comes in your way, you can't go back to college again and again. You should have the ability to read, comprehend, understand that, right? Finally, by the time you graduate, there's no point in becoming a great scientist who doesn't understand the realities of the society that we live in. So we want you to graduate as an independent thinking, socially conscious, responsible citizen, right? So that's a quick summary of the undergraduate program at Azim Premji University. Absolutely wonderful interacting with you. I think this has given us a lot of confidence that we should do more such sessions during the next couple of weeks. So that's a wrap from all of us. Thank you. All of them who worked behind the scenes, which we could not see, the IT team, they worked quite hard to get this webinar up and running. Monideepa and Bakul behind the scenes, Sneha for all the coordination, and my colleagues, Nitya, who didn't come, but Varuni, SV, we call him SV, Srinivas, Kit, thanks for the suggestion of doing a webinar. I think that's where we started looking at what are the options available. I'm glad that we did it. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, bye all. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope to catch you
Bye.
soon.
Bye, thanks.